start the lifts. These three guys came in to orientation. Actually, I say these two guys came in. The one guy never even showed up. And the one guy had on his knuckles, F life. I said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about this? Like, well, he's going to wear gloves. His eyes were like all weird, and you could tell he was on something. And it's really important, your first impression, okay? Because you can get hired blindly. You know, you can say all the right things in an email or in a resume, but dress for the part. I do not do power suits. So it's like Hillary Clinton, finance people. I don't do that. That's not who I am. Stay true to who you are, but still within the realm of what you're doing, you know? Don't expect anything to be given to you, for sure. Every now and then you catch a break, but you're gonna have to work hard for what you want. You're gonna have to work hard to pay your bills. You're gonna have to work hard to keep, your rent paid. You're going to have to work hard. Unless you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth and a family with a lot of money, and you're able to make decisions willy-nilly, you're going to have to work for it. Okay, so never expect anyone to give anything to you. Again, education is important, not just a bachelor's degree, beyond that. Even if it's just webinars, certifications, little certificates that you can get pretty cheaply. Even Word, like Microsoft Word, has online courses where you can get certified in all of their different facets. That's all right, and it might even be free, but at least you put the effort in to do it, okay? Support network, find that mentor. Never sacrifice your family and friends for your job. I've seen it, it's not good. They're the ones that will stand behind you when you fail or when you are successful. No matter what, they are the ones that are there for you 24/7. The boss can go away. The CEO, I'm not even sure if the guy that owns our company knows my name. We've shook hands a million times. I do tons of stuff. I bring them to PNC. I'm the face when it comes to our events. I'm not even sure he knows my name. I'm not going to sacrifice my family and friends for that. I'm not saying don't be motivated, don't not be dedicated to your work, but remember the people that are behind you no matter what happens. Higher character, train skill, smile, always smile. We get people that sit down for their orientation after they do all their paperwork and the training, and they sit in our chair for their badges and say, should I smile? You're in customer service. Of course you should smile. You don't have to be fake about it. Be who you are. If you like people, those jobs are easy, okay? Because it just comes right out. Keep your nose clean. And I think we all know what I mean by that, okay? The decisions you make now will haunt you in the future. And I don't want that to sound so heavy, but it does. It really, truly does. I do a lot of background checks. You can Google anything. Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook for just a second. In the HR business, I want to know everything about somebody before I hire them, or at least as much as I'm allowed to know. The first thing I do is pull up their Facebook. The one guy that I remember us kind of huddling around the computer for was this guy that was just, entry-level job, no big deal. Why not just hire him? He obviously was flipping off the camera, and he was holding a gun, and pass, because he's going to be a big problem. Okay, so you can tell a lot about you by just looking at your Facebook. What you post, who posts to your wall, your pictures, what you say. Remember that stuff. We are in an age where that stuff follows you. You send a picture out there, what do they always tell you? You can never actually delete it. So really, take that to heart, because it is true. I can tell you that as an HR generalist, I will find it, okay? And we've had a lot of people either get fired or have corrective actions because of things that we found on the internet. You can get a DUI and think you can hide it from us, or I had one guy say, well, it's not a big deal, I'm just like everyone else, I just sleep in jail. You're not like everyone else, okay? I don't care if it's work release, you're still in jail for a reason. We give a lot of people second chances, but you have to cut the line somewhere. So keep your nose clean. Do you. Be who you are. It may not allow you to move up as quickly as you want to. You may have to work 100% harder, but be who you are. I said I'm not a power seat person. I also am not going to bow down and worship the CEO. He's a person just like me. He has more education, more experience, but maybe at his age, I'll be the same person. I will never worship those people. Okay, I'm working towards what I want to do, towards my goals. Dress for the part. We've had people come in interviews in suits and ties, power suits, and then jeans that are all dirty and a ripped up sweatshirt. Okay, so we have both ends of the spectrum. At least look presentable. A polo, nice pair of pants. Buy that now so you have that for your interviews. They want to see that you made an effort, that you didn't just roll out of bed, and come in for an interview. You want to show up early or on time. That's a really big deal for us, especially in the HR field, that you're making the effort to do that. Okay, that's very important. It speaks to your character. It speaks to your dedication, your motivation, to who you are as a person. If you're not going to show up on time for your first day, I've had people show up drunk or high. Like, not a good thing. Not a good first impression. Obviously, they don't continue with the orientation that day, but you really do get to see it all. I always say I wanted to write a book from being in HR because there's stuff you wouldn't believe. It's kind of like the ER. People come in with like weird stories and injuries, and it's the same way. And with being in HR, the one thing I can't do is tell everybody about it. It's very confidential. So when I talked about Joe and our crew kind of falling apart, those are my friends. Those are my coworkers. Those are people that I would stand by, no matter what. And they're the only ones that I could tell stuff to. Because you can't, that's confidential, proprietary information. You can't just talk to anybody about that. You learn one time, the tongue slips and you learn your lesson. So that's one thing too, is really build a family with who you work with. Respect them for what they do because they're in the same boat as you are. Head high, dream high. Do what you want to do. Keep working through that ladder. Don't ever stop. Why? There's no reason. No matter how busy we are, what we're doing, there's always time for education. There's always time for other people, for networking and things like that. And you're only as good as you want to be. If you've stopped and you're stagnant, that's your fault. Okay? Even with your grades, you can put a little more effort into it if you wanted to. I find that because I'm in school now. I'm a freshman in college all over again. Okay? 8 years as a generalist meant nothing. Okay? People want to see that I have that bachelor's degree. Don't give up that path, that journey. And do the best you can. Put a little bit more effort into it. I find the same problem. I do a lot of at-home stuff, so I'm like super accountable. I don't even know what my instructors look like. Okay? I pass them in the hallway, it wouldn't matter. I come here to get my books and that's it. Okay? So there's a lot of accountability on my end from work. When I get home and I'm tired, I still got to put that hour in. So, like I said, that's just my life. Twists and turns and everything else, but as long as you come out on top and ahead and you're a better person for it, never forget to be the better person. You can kind of hold your head high and just keep plowing forward. So, that's me.
Questions? Any questions?
Hopefully you like this,
Go, Garrett.
Yeah, you said that you're going back to school now. What are you planning on moving up to? You're already at that.
You would think so, yeah. You would think that the experience would, I had 6 years of experience over my manager, and he's the one that got promoted because he had that little addition on his resume. Okay, so I mean, I obviously, at that point, I was really thinking, what can I do? I don't want to be in this position again. I don't want to feel like this again. I'm doing the business administration, probably kind of just what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get my email, I need some answers for financial accounting. It's not easy. Going back after 15 years, when I figured if my mom could do it with 3 kids, then I think I can probably figure it out. So that's what I'm doing. Eventually, I'm going to move on to like a Seton Hill, a Slippery Rock, depending on what I decide at that point. It's getting through the first 2 years. So, is anybody working right now in like the industry that you're in, any kind of business or office or anything like that? Yeah. Don't get discouraged because it's a really nice day outside, and I go through that every day, and I wouldn't know it because I have no windows. Okay, but I get to go outside and ski after work. I get discounts, get to fly through the air on the canopy tours. Pick a job that you're going to like, that has some extra perks that go along with it. If you can get paid and have fun at the same time, that's awesome. And that's kind of what I do. I post 4 o'clock pictures at the top of the slope when people are kind of still digging out their cars trying to get home to their kids or whatever. Pick things that are fun. that you can, have your family come and enjoy that with you. I also bartend on the weekends, weddings, because I don't know, I just like the atmosphere. The money's really good. But that's also something else I do. So, keeping busy makes the time go fast, for sure.
For that HR certification, do you have are there certain requirements you need to meet before
Yes.
you can go for it?
Yeah, for the PHR, much like some of the other certifications, you do have to have a certain number of years of experience under your belt. Most people don't get the PHR if they have a bachelor's. It's not the same thing, but I got a raise when I got the PHR. It's showing that effort. It's called a merit increase. You put some effort into it, you're invested in it, so I did get a raise for that. I think I had to have 4 years when I did that. There's another level to that certification. It's the SPHR, and you have to have 8 or 10 years in. So over the next month or so, or year or so, I'll decide if I want to do that. Not a lot of people do that, and certifications change, so you kind of have to stay up with the industry as well. Don't expect other people to do it for you. Read the magazines, read the articles. I'm not super invested into HR, but I love what I do, and I want to stay at the top of my game. So. Anything else?
So with that bachelor's that you're going back
This
for,
guy is motivated.
Yeah, he is.
do you want to move up? Do you want to continuously go up the chain as you're trying to get into
So I've always said, if you're in HR, you know that we have, at 40, you can't be discriminated for your age. Okay, I'm 36 now. So by the time I do get my bachelor's, not only will I have that and open the doors that come along with that, but I'll also be 40, so you can't even discriminate against me. So I think I have kind of a little bit of a plan when it comes. I just want it. I want it. And being a pastry chef is fine. I have an associate's degree. None of that mattered when I came back to college. But I just want it. That's something, that's my goal in life right now, is to put the work in and get that. That doesn't mean I'm ever going to stop. That doesn't mean I'm ever going to be a manager. I think I could manage, but staying true to me is more important to me than climbing that ladder and doing so in kind of a dirty way. I don't throw people under the bus. I don't speak ill of the people that work around me or that compete with me, because I want to be able to have my nose clean in the end and say I did this 100% by myself. So that's just part of it, is the school.
What are some ways that at work that Seven Springs kind of sets themselves apart of what they offer their employees? Like, what are some extra benefits? I know you said about skiing and.
That's one of the biggest pools in the winter. We do have a lot of summer stuff. People think that Seven Springs is just a ski resort, and keep in mind I live in New Stanton, so I drive there every day. I'm not close. I don't live on property. I have that commute just like everyone else. But we have tons of summer events, Ribbon Wing, all of the festivals that we encompass. You get discounts for those. I do get certain money for scholarship for school as well. A lot of companies do that. A lot of the bigger corporations, I think, do that more because they have the money to spend. My brother, if he goes back to school, Verizon pays for it. Okay, I just get a little chunk for a year. So that's another thing, is really look at the benefits. My dad always said, if you have benefits and dental and health insurance and 401k, which start that now for real, then you're an adult. Like, I'm an adult. Like, I felt as soon as I got out of school and got all that stuff, like I made it. And then I didn't like what I was doing. And then, having that conversation, like, I don't want to do this anymore, and you just paid for it and still paying for it, is really hard. So, yeah, we have a lot of perks there. We hire a lot of people. The one unique thing about Seven Springs is that you can start, the COO started as bus help in the main dining room like decades ago. And now he's at the top of the food chain. So if you're willing to stick with something, there's payoff there as well. The people that we see coming in now that we're hiring are one and done. They job hop, they don't show up, they come in late. I didn't set my alarm. I call their phones and their parents answer them. And like, Dad, Billy got a bag at Seven Springs. Like, blowing my mind. Like, accountability is a huge thing. When you grow up and get, a job and things like that, I want to talk to you. I want to see you there at 8 a.m. I want to see that I'm not having any issues with you after I hire you. I've had to swallow my pride more than a couple times vouching for people. I had a conversation with you, like we were on the same page, man, and then they just fell apart afterwards. I have a girl right now that was supposed to come to an orientation last week. She never came, didn't say anything. I called her, and her mom answered the phone, and Caitlin, get out of bed. You know, like, that doesn't show any kind of dedication. I specifically sat down with her at a job fair and had that hard conversation. Like, we need you to be dedicated. We need you to be reliable because it matters. This is your last chance with our company. And she's just blowing it, and it just doesn't matter. And that same person will come to me the next job fair and plead for the job. Like, there's only so many chances employers will give you before you're going to have to move on and not look back. So that's one of them. But we do have a lot of perks. You know, you can move up through the ranks. Like I said, I started as a pastry chef. Okay, I was baking the bread and the pies and the cakes, and now I'm, you know, second in line in our office in the HR. And it's not just Seven Springs, it's Hidden Valley and Laurel Mountain. So we have 3 different resorts that we're staffing. 2,200 people. We're the second largest employer in Somerset County. There's a lot of responsibility on me, someone without a degree. Okay, so to be able to fit school into that and another job and social life and how are you supposed to do all this, you just keep juggling. And you just add the balls, throw away the ones when they get old, and you just keep going.
Do you guys offer any internships?
Yeah, I just hired an intern for culinary. We do a lot of culinary ones. I was here last week with your culinary program. I'm just kind of talking to people that might be interested in that. The only thing that is kind of the downside is we're out in kind of the middle of nowhere-ish. If you're from a big city and we don't have housing, okay, we have very, very limited housing that we use for emergency and kind of temporary access. So a lot of those people for internships, marketing and whatnot need to be on property, and right now we can't offer that. So they're looking at maybe purchasing a building or building something new so we can intensify that program a little bit. Culinary, always. I don't even care what season it is, we can always hire culinary. Marketing, we have a group that we have and they do pretty well. In the summer they might hire 1 or 2. We've had a lot of movement over the past couple years in marketing. So there's always opportunities when it comes to that. We do some HRMs and we rotate them through retail, through housekeeping, through front desk, through kind of the operations to see what it's like in the real world when you get a job with that degree. So I think it's really helpful. Get some on-the-job experience before you really go out and try and find a job, because then you can figure out, if you don't like this, let's do this. I love being out in the office. Like, I open the windows, I do paperwork. It's nice, but I love getting out and doing things. And I couldn't do that if I was the manager. Flight 93 next week is something we're doing as an office, and my manager can't go. Okay, so is that really something I want to do for another 10 grand? Do I want to be so bogged down by operations and having to be there 24/7 that I can't do this kind of stuff? So you have to decide what's good for you.
You mentioned early on about the sitting out and recruiting is not a really good option. What do you feel is what companies are doing well recruiting wise? What's a good way of recruiting?
You still see all of the companies out at the job fairs. I think it's a matter of letting go of the old and doing something new. You're still sitting there. Some of them are $300. You're sitting there not getting one application. The last few that I've been to, and it bears nothing on the person that's there. It's how interested kids are in employment in general or internships and things like that. I think this might not be recruiting, but this gets me to see people. This connects me with individuals in a field that might have something to do in the end with what you do or with what I do. So it connects you to people. Even, this isn't a job fair, I'm not handing out applications. A lot of what we do is now digital, okay? Our system is a bit antiquated for what we do, just because you gotta spend a lot of money to be able to change that kind of stuff. But I think just getting out there and networking, I'm not big on chamber mixers because it's like free booze and professional. I'm not huge on that. But I do like the ones with the college kids. I do like getting out there and getting to know. You need real world experience. You need someone to tell you what it's actually like, because it's not all, flowers and, rainbows when you get out into the working field. I don't mind going back to school because it's something I know. I know exactly what I have to do with school. I sit there for an hour a day. It's not a big deal. With my job, I could get into just about anything. We've joked a lot of different times that I'm a therapist, I'm a principal, I'm a mother, I'm, a sibling, sometimes I'm the spouse. You know, you're a lot of different things when you get into this kind of field, and you can't talk to anybody about it except your coworkers and maybe, you know, a couple friends that don't work there. So it can be pretty tough. Joe always told us you live in a fishbowl. I can't go out and drink with my friends at Seven Springs or party and hang out like everyone else can because we're the example. And you have to be ready for something like that when you get into the field. Now, if you're a secretary or an admin or own your own business, you can kind of do what you want. But in this, and it really kind of threw the girl I work with for a loop, because she was down a snowshoe. She's young, straight out of college. You know, she's a partier. They had little like raves down there. She can't do that here. And it's really thrown her for a loop because she's not used to that. She's not used to the fishbowl yet. So that's one thing you have to think about. But yeah, recruiting, getting out there and getting to know people and doing this kind of stuff, or just visiting. Continuing education is good for that too, because you get to meet people that are interested in what you are interested in and want to learn about. And then you just develop that connection, and you never know down the line where that could be a pro for you.
You mentioned for your internships that you have to like stay on site.
Mm-hmm. We prefer that. We do. You don't have to.
Yeah, so like what's the reason for that?
It's easier for the student. So a lot of the internships that we have, they're probably still in college, they're young. The one that we just hired has never been away before. So I think back to me at Kent State University, like an hour and a half away from my parents. I had to find my own housing. I didn't have that option. So that's one thing that we want to kind of take away, that confusion. We want to take away that travel. Seven Springs is a different world. From the bottom of the mountain to the top is a 10-degree difference. If it's raining on the bottom, it's blizzarding on the top. So a lot of these kids we have adults that quit their jobs because they don't want to drive in the snow. Okay, and a lot of these kids have beater cars. They're still in college. They've never been away from their parents. They're making $8.50 an hour. So we want to take away that uncertainty of, are you going to come to work? Are you going to be there? Can you get there safely? And that makes their parents feel a little bit better about having them come to Seven Springs. We've also had some students where their parents refuse to let them come to us because they know the roads are a lot worse. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's not something that they can control. So we've lost some interns when it comes with that. You don't have to live on property. We do have some from Mount Pleasant. We had a guy that lived on property that lived in Mount Pleasant. I would rather he commute, but we're okay with giving them housing. He ended up moving back to Mount Pleasant because it was only 20 minutes. So he's still working, but driving.
I was gonna say I'm in Lake Trip, so.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're anywhere within 20 minutes, it's probably fine. But we get a lot of the culinary students, they're kind of unsure about what they're doing. They're just kind of morphing into themselves. And so we want to take away some of the uncertainty for them, and also for the parents to let them, you know, stay with us for 3 to 6 months, sometimes a couple years.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Brie. Thank you. I don't want to be on camera, so I gotta stop it.
Why?
Maybe.
My next goal